Hello everybody, it is me, Martinez-Bateman. I am recording this planner video for you on the 22nd of January. Let me just sit down in my little chair and get comfortable. I thought I'd show y'all what I've been doing in my Hobonichi 2026 Hobonichi Hone. Here are some of the stickers I've added to it. I can't remember where I got this, but I love it. I think my husband actually bought this for me. It's like a medieval style lady with like a head, a man's head. And then I bought this last night at the queer bookstore, one of the queer bookstores here in Portland. You are enough and never too much. I feel like I need this reminder a lot. And then obviously I'm not going to show my weeklies because I've got stuff in them. But I figured I could show that I've gone back. This is a practice I haven't done in years, but back when I was in my Hobonichi Techo, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, I would mark what were sort of like logical break times or meal times throughout the day. So we have 8 a.m., noon, 4 p.m., and 8 p.m. That was just sort of like to add color, but also to remind me that I cannot work all of the hours God gives. And then, so I've been using watercolors to mark those. These are some, oh God, I'm going to get the name wrong, but they were a gift for my birthday. They're chromatic watercolors that have this like beautiful variation in them. I think it's called Tanzangami. Do not quote me on that. But they're in this pan. There's 4 or 5 colors and they all look brown. And then when you put water to them and paint with them, they come out like this. Just all so cool. So I've been using those to mark my breaks, and then I just kind of ran out of steam. But let's see, let's go back to January 1. I've done this, I think this is my 3rd year now. Wendy Mack has a drawing club called Draw Together, where every January you spend 30 days in a row drawing for 10 minutes each, using her like prompts and stuff. And she always writes like a lovely blog post about what's going on and like why we're doing this and blah, blah, blah. And so here's almost every day of that. One of the days is in a different notebook because I left it at work accidentally and I don't know where it is. But this is always the first practice in her drawing club. It's like a more and less list. And what I did is I took some crayons, like watercolor crayons, and I just sort of scribbled shapes. And then I used one of my black ink brushes to sort of draw a thing around the shape. And I didn't know, and you're all supposed to do everything in 10 minutes. And this year I've actually stuck to 10 minutes or less. So everything I'm going to show you, I drew in 10 minutes or less. Unless otherwise noted. There's some stuff that I added after 10 minutes in like a couple of the drawings. But almost every single thing happened under 10 minutes. So I drew all the shapes, and then I like kind of had to quickly make up the things. So this is like, I have no thought in this, but the more I look at it, the more I'm like, no, this is accurate. This is 100% what I need. So, and then these are just spirals in and out. And so the green spirals, I started out here and spiraled inwards. And the maroon spiraled, I started inside and spiraled outwards. So, and then this is the missing day. This is blind contour. I'm actually trying to draw. So blind contour, you do not look at the paper and you don't pick your pencil up. And I was using one of those watercolor crayons. I was trying to draw Shane from Heated Rivalry because that's what was on the TV. And I sort of made his nose more defined. It was like this. and I added this sort of like actual nose shape. And then I also added his eye over here. This wasn't there at first, which like you could tell it's a person without that, but I don't know. So those were the 2 lines I added after the fact. And then I went in, because there was still time, I added some like blush, flush to his face. And then this is like, we had 10 minutes to both draw and fill these circles. And the circles themselves took like 6 minutes. So I didn't have a lot of time. And then this is a self-portrait. This is also a recurring feature of the Draw Together experience every year. So here's me. The labels I added after the 10 minutes. So I had my phone, I had my always opinion, always pockets, fashion sense equals bag. This is turning splotches into art. I actually had to let these splotches dry overnight because I used fountain pen ink, and it took so long for these fuckers to dry that I had to draw this on the next day. But I don't know if you can see this guy, but he's just a perfect little angry man. And then this is drawing a giraffe with your dominant and non-dominant hand. But I was also a day late on this. So I drew this one before this one. And as you can see, the splotches have sort of leaked through. And then I also did some pen tests on this page because it was already sort of fucked up. But yeah, you were supposed to draw a giraffe with your dominant hand, but your eyes closed, and a car and a bicycle. And then you were supposed to draw a giraffe with your non-dominant hand and not your eyes closed. Also, you could look at a picture of a giraffe. So that's why this one's so much better. And then this is connecting A and B. Yes, I know. It looks like it says anal. That was absolutely not intentional. Sometimes you get a Freudian slip in art, I guess. I don't know. And then this is a drawing with Socrates. I drew it with both hands. So I drew this with one hand and this with another hand at the same time. But then I realized that his face was in shadow over here and highlighted over here. And I accidentally put the darker color where the light was and the lighter color where the shadow was. And so then I sort of tried to like add in shadows and highlights. And then this is the same drawing with 2 hands, but trying to mirror the other drawing. And then this is an exploration of the types of lines one sees in art: horizontal, vertical, diagonal, straight, curved, thick, thin, and other. And then we were supposed to draw something using all of those lines. So that's that. And then, turn the page. This is shapes. Making weird shapes out of the things you find in a swirly painting. So this is ink, pen, and then this is gouache. And I named the shapes I found. So you were supposed to try and copy the shapes that you made. There's scooply, pum, mole, dolid, burl, bural. I don't think I really thought that one through. And arctino. And then here's trying to draw with like light and shadow and form. And here's the light source, which is why the shadow is that way over here and this way over here. And then I tried to draw the dog. He was laying on the ground. I tried to draw him as a bunch of shapes and then sort of mush the shapes together. You know, it happened. This is line drawing. This is using negative space, using positive space. This is that same watercolor that's like, it separates into cool colors. This is a pencil that has like a billion different colors in the pencil. Here is Socrates 4 ways. We were supposed to draw 4 different frames and then paint the same subject from 4 different points of view. So this is his paw, this is his little face, This is his nose, and this is just him chasing a ball. Obviously, I painted this from memory. This is not a live painting. And then we have this. This is 3 fountain pens. You're supposed to draw with your fingers, so only moving your fingers. And basically how I got it, I realized down here that I was like, oh, this is actually too big. I won't be able to draw the whole thing with just moving my fingers. So I just took the pen like this and scooted it down and then like did like this at the very end of the pen to get the whole rest of the bottle. And then this is my arm, so I'm moving my arm to make this. And then this is my body. I stood up and moved my body back and forth while holding the pen to make this one. Come on. And then this is a practice that Wendy also does every year called the finder, where you're supposed to make like a piece of paper and cut a square in it. And I just was like, I don't want to do that. And I don't want another thing to have to carry around with me right now, because I'm carrying so much stuff with me right now. I really have to do a reevaluation of my like journaling art system, because my bag is overflowing. And I was like, you know what also makes a viewfinder is my hand. So I just did this and looked around my house for like interesting shapes. And this is my living room wall and my kitchen wall. So the kitchen's over here, the living room's over here, where they sort of meet. And that's a picture of, it's a painting of Pepper, my old dog. That's the edge of the other painting that's next to it. This is actually a big basket of chips that is in the pantry, because my kitchen starts right here. Like, you can't really see it, but my kitchen starts right here. And this is the pantry, and this is the chips. And then this is my living room. So this is a lamppost, and then down here, where you can't see, is a chair. And then I drew my hand trying to make the finder shape. And then I was supposed to draw a beloved object, and I drew my pen case and my little plushy death that was open next to me. And this is all fountain pen. So this is it when it's open, and all the little pens in it, and my little death. And then I was supposed to draw something from the natural world, but I got home at like midnight, or I started doing this at like midnight, and I was like, I'm tired. I do happen to be facing the dog who's falling asleep on the couch, and so I tried to draw Socrates while he fell asleep on the couch, and he kept moving. So I don't think you can see it now, because I drew so much that the ink bled through here and into here. But he kept moving around, so I could, every time he would move, I would lose the angle of his face. But also forgot how to spell the word draw. Tried to dray the dog. He kept moving. Looks like Falcor. Yes, and then last night we were supposed to paint or draw a piece of food, and specifically like a delightful food. And I ate good yesterday. I want to be clear that I had like 3 very nice meals yesterday, but for some reason my favorite food experience of yesterday was eating one of those like round slices of Gouda that you can get at Trader Joe's, the smoked Gouda. Eating it while I walked down the hallway at work. That was like perfect. I think I was just like really hungry. And then today I thought I'd do this while y'all are here, since why not? Today we're supposed to draw a piece of clothing. And the sort of like order, like the instruction is to draw a piece of clothing you already own, but I don't want to do that because there is a specific piece of clothing I want to buy, and I want to draw it because I've been thinking about it for a couple of days. And most of you know that I am immunocompromised. Well, I'm immuno-impacted, not immunocompromised, which means that I'm not in as much danger as, say, someone who has like lupus or something. But it's not a good thing for me to get sick. You can probably hear in my voice that I already have my winter cough on board. It's already here and lingering, which is why I have my hot coffee. But I really need a balaclava, like one of those things that covers your whole face. I really need that thing. However, those things are scary and ugly, and so I don't want an ugly one. I want a pretty one. And I know fashion designers like Simon Rocha have made like cute balaclavas. Obviously, I can't afford that. So I'm trying to sort of like concept how I could do that. I am a crocheter and a knitter. In the past, I have tried to make myself balaclavas and failed so magnificently that I am like very clear on the fact that I don't have time to figure that out. Because it would take a lot of time for me to figure out what the fuck keeps going wrong with my balaclava making. So I am probably going to have to either buy something that is inspired by the fancy balaclavas that are out there, or buy something normal and fix it with my skills. So I want to think about balaclava making while we're doing this. So I like color. I've got my gouache set here. I think I can just work with what is already on this palette and like rehydrate it. Yeah, oh, and let's set a timer for 10 minutes because that's the deal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Start. Okay. So let's start with this blue because it's like a very nice color as the base of our balaclava. And actually, let me get a McDonald's napkin to wipe my brush on. Now let's see, balaclava shape. It's kind of like this. Like in a perfect world, if I had time, I would, you know, be trying to do proportions and like draw out the circle of a head and stuff like that, but I don't have time. So let's try and get this as right as possible. I wish I had a bigger brush, but I just have this travel kit brush. That is okay. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just has to be under 10 minutes. Boop, 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 boop. But yeah, I like color. So I don't really want like a black balaclava. And I know most balaclavas are like very utilitarian. This is not a fashion item. However, because of how sensitive I am to cold air, and it seems to be really bad this year, like it's, sometimes I have some wiggle room. This year, no. After my birthday, because my birthday was on the 14th, after my birthday dinner, we were standing outside for, I don't know, 10 minutes saying goodbyes, and I was fucked up. I was fucking wrecked. Like coughing so hard I couldn't like talk. I walked across a parking lot today. I was supposed to go to the doctor. Oops, lost the cap of that thing. I was supposed to go to the doctor. I walked across the parking lot at the doctor's. I got back in my car. I was wearing a long sleeve shirt, thermo tights, a wool skirt, a puffer vest, a Filson puffer, a knit hat, one of those COVID masks, like a disposable mask, because I was at the doctor, and I still was coughing my fucking brains out when I got to the car. Like, it's bad. It's maybe worse than it's been since maybe college. And like, okay, so let's think about this. I want to, am I going to add, how much time do I have? Oh, I have 6 minutes left. That's more than enough. So let's add some some shadows in here. So this will down here, and this will come down here. We'll have one here, maybe a little bit of a darker one for the mouth. Do balaclavas have a mouth hole? Questions we should have asked ourselves and maybe answered before we decided to paint a balaclava. Oh well. Boop, and then let's do some of that. Okay. All right. Does that look contoured? Is this beat to death, everyone? Yeah, that looks good. And then, because we're adding shadows, let's get some highlights in here. Don't get fucking water all over everything, please. That's the one thing about doing this challenge in the Hobonichi with mostly fountain pens, is because fountain pen ink is almost always like water soluble. I end up with blotchy paintings because I'll paint on the back and then that will soluble the water. And then we have a problem. Okay, now we have 4 minutes left. Let's try to get some decoration on here, because that's what I want. I want like decoration. I want like a decorative item. I want like a fun little guy. I want embroidery. I want like an eyeball right here. Boop, 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 boop. I want like pom-poms, you know, like, if that's not going to get in my eyes and like irritate the fuck out of me. One of my problems as a person is that I have a very small head, and it's hard to put things on my head, especially because I'm the type of person that needs to be like wearing like a mask and glasses and a hat and a scarf and a this and a that, right? Like I'm always bundled up in the winter. And because of my extremely small head, all that shit is made for normal sized people and does not fit on my fucking head. And sometimes I can get away with wearing like a children's version, but very frequently the children's version is actually like way too small. And so then I have this problem where I have an adult-sized head, but an extremely small adult-sized head. And I can't fit all the things I need on my head, on my actual head. Do you follow me? I think I need a more serious yellow for this. Put this over here. Come on. Boop, boop, boop. I think that's all I need. It's not like I need a ton. If I spell balaclava right, someone has to buy me a Dutch Brothers coffee, because that'll be a miracle and a feat. Maybe I'll put some like, yeah, that'll be cute. It's like a pom-pom. The problem with having this 10-minute limit and using like any medium that has to dry is that you just have to like accept the fact that it's going to smear together. And you're not getting that like crispy paint line that you wanted. And that's okay. I might use like 1 more minute should I use my minute to try and outline some of this stuff to make it make sense? And what do I outline it with? Because it's wet still. If I use a fountain pen, that ink is just going to bloom all over this. Let me write also balaclava. BALICLAVA. Like I said, if I spelled it right, someone owes me a Dutch Brothers. I'm not saying it's you, but just someone in the universe owes me a Dutch Brothers. Okay. Oh. Come on. Eyeball. Please, eyeball. Eyeball, no whammies. Okay. I think per the instructions for today I can write, 10 minutes are up, so I'm allowed to write my description after the 10 minutes are up. I don't have to, but I think I'm going to wait until it's dry. But that was my Wendy Mac draw together drawing assignment for today. See you later.